All right, we are back. I hope everybody's doing good. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing the channel. I really appreciate it. We're obviously doing Casey Music Talk here, and today we have a piano player here in Kansas City, Andrew Ouellette. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on this. Yeah.
No problem, man. So I know you and I haven't talked a ton in the past. We have jammed a couple times, and I've definitely always been really impressed by you and many other guys in town, that are really practicing a lot and playing a ton. And
Thanks.
yeah, no problem. I know that you guys just blow me away with like some of the sight reading you guys do and stuff. Just get some standard up, please, and you're just like okay,
Yeah.
I'm always blown away because I'm not that amazing of a jazz player. I played for 36 years, but I'm not, or 34 years, but I'm not that great at jazz. But you guys always like just blow me away.
Oh, thanks, man. I mean, I think a lot of times standards, the more you do it, you start to see that it's sort of like the same, like there are patterns. So it's not like every tune is its own unique thing. Like you start to kind of hear it, like, oh, it goes to the 4 here. All these other tunes do that.
2-5, 2-5, 2-5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think just the more you do it, and the more you make yourself, I think, not use any music, or like just hear it, the easier it gets to just kind of be intuitive about it. Because I honestly can't remember like anything, like the names of tunes. I can only remember like 7 tunes, I would say, right now, if you ask me. But then if someone starts playing it, I'll be like, oh, okay. I can kind of hear where it's gonna go.
Sure.
So yeah.
Like All the Things You Are reminded me of that a lot because it's got like the changes in it are like changes from 700 other songs.
Yep.
Different sections of and maybe that would be the key for me, is to stop looking at every song individually. See them as hearing the commonalities of every one of those standards.
Yeah, that one I actually feel like is pretty. That's a little more actually advanced. All like having played a bunch of other standards, I would say All the Things goes to a lot more places maybe than others do. A lot more key centers.
Oh yeah. So, there's 3 or 4 in that song in there at least.
Yeah.
Key centers.
Right. Yeah, and the form is so long, so that's a good one definitely to know. I still practice All the Things You Are. That's like one of my favorite tunes to use.
Oh yeah.
Practicing. Yeah.
Yeah, because like the All of Me's and like some of the other earlier ones from that are easier. A lot of them are a lot. Honeysuckle Rose, I think, is pretty easy. There's only about two.
Those are good too. It's just everyone finds kind of the changes that they like and the melodies they like to play over, and
yeah, that's cool. So like for you, like how did you start playing, or what did you kind of grow up doing?
For sure. Well, I started when I was 6 or 7 with beginning piano, and just kind of hated it like everyone else. You know what I mean? Like just wanted to play video games or something, or not do that.
Yeah.
And then just kind of kept going with it. My parents didn't like make me keep going, but they strongly encouraged me to not quit, because I think in middle school I was like thinking about quitting. And I just kept going with it. And then in high school, I had a really good private teacher, especially for being in Hannibal, Missouri, just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, Missouri.
Oh, wow, yeah,
I had an excellent private instructor who taught me jazz and classical. And I think just with him, I just kind of caught the bug and just kind of was like, oh, I don't think I can let go of this now. Right. And here I am.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Did you think, because that happens a lot, I think, where you don't want to, like you just said, you don't want to do it first, then did you think, what did you think it was more of? Did you think it was more the teacher itself, or did you think it was that comboed with that you'd already been doing this and you were seeing a little bit of success? Do you know what I'm saying? Like that you get 4 or 5 years down the road and you're like, well, I kind of don't completely suck at this.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, I knew I didn't like totally suck.
Right.
But it also wasn't something like, I don't know, I guess I didn't find what I was really passionate about with it, or like the type of music I was really passionate about. I just kind of did it just to do it. But yeah, this teacher's name's Jason Duggar. He's unfortunately deceased now, but I credit him with igniting the fire early for me, introducing me to a lot of jazz concepts that there's no way I would have stumbled on my own. And yeah, I kept going with classical actually a lot in high school. I played a lot of classical, and I still do. Not no one pays me to do it because I'm not very good at it, but I still love playing classical music.
Oh, sure, yeah. Did you think that influenced your jazz probably a lot?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. Yep. Yeah.
Because the classical set, I mean, because I've played that for forever, and I mean the technique wise, I mean, it's just, you know, it's bonkers. I mean, classical music insanely hard, you know. I mean, so technique wise, I just mentioned All of Me, you know. I mean, just to play the melody, I mean, it's like you're doing concertos and stuff, and then you get to All of Me, and you're like, oh, okay, you know. And
yeah, that's a totally different thing.
Technique wise, way easier, but improv, I mean, you're not improv. I mean, there's hard things about it, you know.
Yeah, man, kind of I don't know, maybe other people can relate to this, but definitely a personal maybe struggle I had with jazz was that I had played so much classical and gotten so used to just like playing things and not really thinking about what I'm doing. Actually, you know what I mean? Like, I would just learn it and I could play it, but I wasn't really thinking about what I was actually doing.
Sure.
So sometimes with jazz, I kind of had to, I feel like I've gotten better at that, but get better at being like deliberate and really like thinking about what I actually want to do as opposed to just kind of just letting something happen. I guess even with classical music too, like singing it in my head or like away from the piano, just making sure that I can actually hear what's happening as opposed to just spitting the notes back out.
Oh, sure.
Because I think that makes it sound better if you are hearing the melody in your head as opposed to just reading notes off a page.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Reproducing it.
I mean, I would think that like, I know from us in orchestra, we have no idea what chord we're playing. Because I'm just playing F sharp and it's the third and D or whatever, you know, I don't care, you know, because I'm just supposed to play A right now, you know, but for you guys, was a little bit of that like, what chord am I really playing here? Is that kind of what you mean? Where in classical, you just are kind of doing it, but in jazz, you're like, okay, C7. Was it that kind of stuff? Is that what you mean by you weren't really thinking out what you were doing?
Right, yeah, I mean, it was more like maybe I would go off muscle memory sometimes. I mean, not even the chord, just being aware of all the notes I'm playing and like being able to reconcile each of them to the chord and like hear each of them individually, and that's just made it also more enjoyable for me in studying classical music to think about each part of the chord that I'm hearing, and
because I mean cool. it's an understanding that's like so far deeper than what you were doing before, right? I mean,
just not thinking. I was just not thinking about it that way.
Surface.
I was just reading notes off a page, and I could hear. You know what I mean? I could like, okay, I like how this sounds, but like, it's really helped with like memorizing things too. To think about it that way for me.
Yeah, sure.
To get away, basically just to get away from the piano with it, and you know, listen to it, and like sometimes I'll take I like to play a lot of Bach, and I'll take it and I'll just try to like sing the different parts in my head away from the piano and be like, oh, you know, I thought I was on a B flat, but I'm actually on a B. So like finding little problems like that.
That sounds like internalizing it. You just didn't have it internalized sort of in the, you had it here. Yeah. You had it muscle memory internalized, but.
Yeah, but to me at least for me, that's not really having it, because I've had some embarrassing moments with muscle memory where, you know what I mean? You get in it's like at home, it's fine, but then you get in a unfamiliar environment, you're all of a sudden, I'm like, you know, what do I do?
Oh, sure.
How do I do this? So being able to really hear it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So then you went from there over to UMKC with Bobby, right? And talk a little bit about what happened there.
Sure. So I was playing okay, I would say, when I got to college jazz-wise, but then just over 4 years, you know, slowly realized that I was not as good as I thought I was, definitely, and had a lot of stuff to get together.
Ego check.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby, people know, he will tell you what is wrong. If something's wrong, he'll just tell you, which is the way it should be. And also, you know, just being in different playing situations with my peers, and like sometimes, you know, like one thing I figured out was that I was not good at odd meters. I was really bad at odd meters, because I didn't really ever try to do that. I was like, whatever, it's just one more beat, but it's the feel of it is just totally different. And so that was something I've recently had to work on a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like getting better.
The
at that.
5s and 7s
Five,
and
seven,
11s
nine,
and all that 9.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Playing,
who was the guy there at the time? The piano guy.
I took with Roger.
Oh,
for
Roger Waller. Yeah.
3.5 years, and I took 1 semester with Brom.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's two
Yeah.
very helpful,
Oh yeah, I mean
badasses.
they're both so badass, man. Yes, exactly. Like so good. I think I stuck with Roger more just because of the stylistic differences, and I was maybe trying to play a little more like Roger was, as opposed to Brom, who does the I just don't think I can do the stride thing. I was like, man, that's so cool, but I just don't think I think my left arm will just fall off and die.
Yeah. Well, you seem pretty good with the left-hand bass though.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, but it's different. Yeah, the stride thing is different than just walking.
Yeah. So I started Lonnie's gig actually pretty soon after getting to school, even though I probably shouldn't have been. Like probably someone better should have been doing it then, but I was just kind of who was available then. But yeah, I've had a lot of opportunity to work on playing left-hand bass with Lonnie.
Oh yeah,
that's a requirement of that gig. I think that's made my time better, and also just made me more confident in the harmony, being able to walk a bass line and just kind of have to hold it down.
What do you think about it? Because that's another thing that I didn't plan on asking you, but on that idea, so like Chris Hazelton, he's pretty good at walking, and Mark's real good at left-hand stuff, but there's some guys that aren't, right?
So there are some guys who are better pianists than me who aren't maybe as good at that, just because it's like a skill, man. It's not a measurement of if you're good or not. It's more like, can you do this? Do you even want? Some guys are like, why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
I just got good at it because it was a requirement of the gigs I was playing.
Yeah. Because Tyree, you, Lonnie, and then there's accidentally no bass there, and then you get over to Black Dolphin, and he can hire a bass player and.
Yeah, and I definitely preferred that.
Sure.
I do not like. I don't like demand that I'm the one who plays bass. It's more like, all right, I guess since I have to.
Yeah, sure. It's always better with a bass. They can deal with it, and then you can like be freed up a little bit, and like so. There's another thing too that you can tell me as a piano player. And this happened to me in my old band where I tried to hire guitar and piano, and I had to deal with that range problem, right? Where they're right there in the same crap. And the same thing happens when you're here, right? Yeah. And then the piano instead plays here, and now they're screwing, They're battling the bass player, do you find yourself, if you don't have the bass, of going up there a little bit more, or how do you deal with that? Like comping and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely comp differently because I have to do it all with my right hand as opposed to being able to do it two hands. I honestly hate the way I comp when it's just with my right hand. I'm like, this sucks so bad, but whatever. It's what I got for today. Man, I don't know.
It's maybe not a range thing for you then, I guess.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm pretty much always just trying to just go with whatever I hear in the moment. If I hear something up high, I'll try to do it. I don't think I limit myself to a different range. But like you were saying about comping with the guitar, that is a unique, kind of a unique thing to get better at, is comping with another chording instrument and not just like muddling it up.
Right.
So you really have to listen, especially if you're both going to comp. Sometimes people will it'll be like, okay, we'll just alternate comping.
Yeah.
But I prefer everyone comps. I think it's more fun to just try to make it work. So you really have to listen to the notes the other guys playing, and I guess maybe less is more.
Sure.
Less is better when you have another comping instrument. You know what I mean?
As opposed to like
5 or 6 notes, maybe just like 3 or 4.
Oh, sure, yeah. And but you mentioned something right there that's really key, is that when you say every other one, how did you do that? Well,
what do you mean?
Yeah, like you say you're comping like every other or whatever, I'm gonna comp here and you're gonna comp there. Yeah. But how did that happen? You kind of probably talked about, maybe, but so it's one of two things. You either talk that out beforehand in some way,
Yeah.
In 2 seconds, you go, I'll take this one, or you both just know.
Yeah, or
right? You already have this what would you call this etiquette thing happening, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the other way is just start playing and see if the other guy keeps playing.
Yeah.
Or not. See what kind of face he makes when you start playing.
If you get the death stare, you know.
But
yeah.
I mean, luckily I've pretty much gotten to do that with really good guitar players. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I played with Hopper.
Sure. And he's going to be great about that. He knows what to do.
He's like listening to you as well. He's like really, and Adam Schlossman too, someone who with Project H kind of had to figure out how to comp together, but he's again like such a good listener to what's going on. So
yeah, those guys are Rod or anybody like that is gonna know exactly.
Basically, just try to not mess up. Just try to not mess it up, and it'll be fine. Like just yeah.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that because I've had a lot of the and this is where I'm gonna talk some crap, but we've had a lot of the blues scene on here, and we've talked about that a lot, about knowing when to comp and knowing what to play and how loud to play, and you know, because I'll see some of you guys and it blows my mind. You know, do-don't bump, and then you're out, da-dum, and you guys know how to come in and out, and I'll see some of, you know, I'm just gonna say it, some of the blues jammers are just dunga-dunga-dunga-dunga, like the whole song, and I always find, and I don't know if you feel this, but I play with a lot of different styles of people, and the jazz guys in general, again I'm stereotyping, but in general have a little bit better handle on that than some other players I've noticed. That just the awareness factor of how much to... I think comping's harder than soloing.
Yeah.
Like in a way.
It definitely is a deep thing for sure. I don't know. For me, it's not necessarily harder than soloing. Everything is hard for me. It's all hard, man.
But yeah, so on a different topic, another one that we've talked about a lot here is the idea of artists and entertainers, and I've kind of you know, probably unfairly, you know, separated into these two groups, but it's been funny to me because, and this happened to me with Lonnie. Lonnie came out and he you know, took me out for 2 hours a couple times, and we had a business lesson basically, and that was really nice of him, but he was trying to tell me, because I was trying to basically be an artist only, and I was like, man, cover tunes, screw that crap, right? And you know, I'm gonna play my jazz and my originals, and I'm gonna have this integrity, and like, and he was like, well, you know, hold on a second. He's like, and then after the conversation, I'm like, wait a second, I got 400 cover CDs in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Hold on here. Wait, this doesn't make any sense. I like cover tunes.
Yeah.
You know, and then these guys that are doing a lot of originals and stuff, and you know, they're playing for 5 people in the crowd, you know, and so you know, Lonnie's like, hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that, but you know, his quote to me is don't be bitching when you're not playing for anybody, you know, if you don't. What do you think about that whole kind of argument, or do you have any opinions about that? Because a lot of guys refuse to play covers, or they refuse to do originals, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know, man. I would say just do what makes you happiest, because, you know, at the end, we're just musicians. You know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot of people, like, they don't really care. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So I would say just do what makes you happy, as far as that goes. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely better to have a little entertainer in there, even if you're not like, you know, you don't have to be like hamming it up, but like being able to talk on the mic to the crowd and having like a social media. Both of these things are things I'm terrible at, by the way. I'm like not good at it at all, but I recognize the importance of it, definitely.
Oh yeah.
It really helps, yeah.
Yeah, because those two are linked in a way, because it's your public thing going on. It's not just you in your little bubble practicing and even on stage closing your eyes, and so, you know, but yeah, I mean, we're terrible at like marketing and like the businessy stuff, right? I mean, all of us are terrible at that.
Yep. Yeah, and also the problem is I haven't really felt like nothing is lit enough of a fire under me to like get that going, because I've kind of so far just made my way being a sideman, and I don't have to talk or do anything. And I actually like that. But I know it's beneficial to have some skills with that. Like I see, like Herman, I feel like is someone who is, an artist of the highest order, but is also charismatic, good at talking to people. Just kind of has all that stuff. He knows how to work the business side of it too. Yeah.
Herman Mahari, we're talking about. Yeah, that's interesting because and we've talked about that on the show a little bit too. Is that and I've said this a bunch of times. Is that when I tried to run my Rob Foster and Dudes band, with Brad Williams and those guys, I was trying to be a front man and I just wasn't, and I was trying to run it and I learned a lot of stuff, but I realized that in 6-piece, kind of country rock bluesy band is where I fit perfect, where I'm the main soloer and stuff, but somebody else is talking to the crowd. I mean, did you, it sounds like you never really tried to be that other thing. You were always just the kind of, piano side guy, but it sounds like you've kind of found where you need to be then, right? Or you don't know, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's working, right?
Yeah.
And so far it's worked.
Yeah, sure.
But like I said, I recognize the importance of it. I think one of the problems for me is that, like, those guys, even if you don't really feel like being like Mr. Extrovert and like happy up there, you have to just be that way anyway, and that's something that's hard for me. Where I'm like, if I'm not in a good mood about it, it's gonna show.
Oh, sure.
Or I can't fake it.
Yeah, you can't fake it.
But I wish I could, man, because I feel like some other guy, everyone is human, you know what I mean? But it's like some people are like, okay, I still gotta put on, put on a good show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so on a different topic, with a lot of the younger players, and especially like I said with people like myself, learning to play jazz and specifically, is there any other things that you find that younger players typically do that maybe gets them, like playing wise, that gets them into trouble a little bit? Or have you seen any guys coming out of UMKC of the same, not even just UMKC, but younger players? I'm trying to think of an example. One example is that iReal Pro app, right? Guys kind of focusing on practicing with that, but you're practicing with something perfect. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
And then the track on there,
right?
Yeah, no.
The backing track kind of stuff, and then you get into a jam and the guy drops a chord, and then you're like, oh, fuck, where we are?
Yeah.
Is there any stuff like that you've noticed that?
Not really with young players. I mean, honestly, man, I feel like there are a lot of younger guys who can really play. I don't have anything where I'm like, oh man, these youngsters need to get it together or something like that. I don't feel like I'm good enough myself to get on my high horse about that yet. But yeah, I mean, you definitely want I think the rhythm on that, even if it's functional, but it's not like hip rhythm. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You want to be feeding like good drummers through your ears instead of a machine drumming. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
And that leads into saying that I figured out rhythm is so important. And so maybe some younger guys, that might be like some of my students, that might be something I would tell them maybe, is that, even if you think you have a good time, it's probably not as good as you think, especially right now at that point in their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Do you teach?
I teach, yeah. I teach at a music house.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Yeah,
so you know Rachel and all.
I do, yeah. Rachel and Andy. Andy's my boss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I went to school with Rachel,
cool,
Wichita State, but so, well, then that's a better question. Like, what do you notice with your students then? Not even younger giggers, but or is there a typical kind of trend that you see with a lot of your students?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not naming any names, but I have one student who is a total badass. Actually, and that's been really fun.
Yeah.
Way better than I ever was in high school. Honestly, pretty much just as good as I or other, you know what I mean? He's a professional musician, basically. He's just 17. He hasn't had a lot of gigging experience, but so fun to get to work with him. We just play tunes. I don't try to teach him anything. I can't teach him anything. But other guys, the time thing, and then I feel like anytime something is remotely hard or a little bit hard, they're just like, oh, I just don't want to do it. And I'm like, oh man, that's the point of this. Like, why are you doing this if you don't want to be challenged?
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, I mean, that's what I found too. I have a bunch of students myself, and it's like, I've rarely had the kids that really don't want to be there. I haven't had that very much. I mean, maybe 4 out of all of my students ever. But I have quite a bit that, they go, oh, this is what this is. They like playing, but they're like, oh, like work?
Yeah.
What? And so, I don't know. I mean, have you had any epiphanies on how to reach any of the kids like that, or or anything that's worked in the past for a specific kid, or like?
No, I would say no. I don't think I think I've mostly just, if I can sense that they don't really want to, I just kind of left it alone up until now. But maybe as I get older and become a better teacher, I'll figure out a way to do that. But no, so far, if I sense that they don't want to do that, I'm like, okay, let's just work on something else. I just mainly try to make sure they're enjoying it, and what I mean, getting something out of it. You know what I mean? I don't care. Most of the time, I'm like, I don't care what we work on, really.
Right.
Just let's learn something.
Yeah, sure.
And I definitely stress, unless they're just like pure no readers, I try to stress learning tunes off of recordings, because that's something I wish someone would have made me do a lot earlier. It's like, don't use the sheet. Just learn it off the recording. You can do it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just listen to the notes, pick them out. It's kind of a painstaking process, but it will get way faster the more you do it.
Yeah, you and I sounded a little bit different, because I did straight Suzuki for 3 years, so I was like insane here, and I got to 4th grade and I couldn't read anything,
Oh, gotcha.
I'd already played for 6 years, so Silent Night and like 6 different keys, and I'm like, please, but
You're saying that, so I don't know anything about that method really. It stresses the ear.
Yeah, it's a lot of call and answer. It's just calling it, and you go listen to the CDs over and over. So by the time you get to May Song, and by the time, or whatever, Minuet and whatever, you've heard it like a lot, like 80 times, and so then at that point you start learning it by call and answer, and they're like, oh, I've heard that amount, and so. So that why I'm saying that is that would help, I would think, any kid on the process of playing it off the record, because any of us, you hear it for the very first time, it's gonna suck trying to play this off the record, but you hear Star Spangled Banner off the record, well, you've heard that a lot, Frosty the Snowman or somebody saw, that's like 1,000 times easier, but I know a lot of us like that. That's another part of the reason why I want to do this show, is because there's a lot of us that don't have it all figured out with our students. I definitely don't. Yeah.
I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go.
Yeah, and that's a good point though. You said too about we have this like you can bring up this agenda of what I would love to do today.
Yeah.
But is anything learned today good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that a way to look at it, where chording, comping, left hand, this, whatever the technique is, if we learn any of them today, was that dynamics, like whatever was that a good day?
Yeah.
Kind of, right?
I mean, some students, I definitely can have a plan, and they'll just go along with it, and that's nice too. But some students also, that doesn't work. It's more like, let's just learn something today. Not necessarily like, I tend to just be more like, let's just learn part of the song. I'm just all about whatever, man. Let's just, it never hurts to learn a new song. You know what I mean? You work on your ear doing that, your technique. You just broaden your horizons. So I guess I could get better at working on like focusing on specific concepts. I'm not always good at that. I'm like, well, it's just playing. I don't always know how to break it down into smaller parts.
Yeah, that's been a struggle for me, is that you want to get them, into the song and you want to do it, but we all kind of, like, this happens a lot in blues where you learn your 3 keys and now you got 700 songs ready to go, because they're all the same freaking songs, and so learning the technique of, like, for a guitar player, you learn this shuffle strumming pattern, and then you learn the and now you've got 800 songs, and so would the key be learn the strumming, but make okay, we're gonna learn this strumming pattern today because I know it's gonna be good for you, and and or should we just try to learn the song? And I mean, that's where the idealism and what actually happens is a problem, right? I mean, ideally we want, but
well, I think and just drawing from my own personal experience, I feel like I got a lot better just by transcribing, like transcribing solos.
Oh yeah.
And so, and comping too, just any notes that are happening, just trying to figure out what's going on. And so I don't always know how to tell people how to do things besides just telling them that. Just like, man, just find someone you like and figure out what they're playing, and then develop your own style off of that.
Yeah.
But I know that's not the way everyone comes at it. That's just the way it's been for me.
Oh,
so,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, that would massively affect the motivation level, right? Because they're picking. I mean, they're picking songs that they actually like, right? I mean, you'd think that would be on their side of wanting to help them want to to do stuff.
That maybe goes back to the hard work thing, where it's like that's kind of a massive undertaking at first to start out transcribing, and so they fall off with it maybe.
Right.
But some people definitely just take it and run with it. Yeah.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. Is, man, if I can just get someone like addicted to transcribing, because it is, for me, it's like I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love figuring stuff out. I like that honestly more than playing my own stuff. Sometimes is just figuring out what these masters are doing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of the key, right? I mean, you have to. I always thought Kansas City was kind of like that. Kansas City's, I think, a very traditionalist. That is my opinion, but a traditionalist-based music town. I when you go out to all the jams, it's standards, right? You go out to the blues jams, it's Muddy Waters and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and like it's swingy, and it seems like everybody. Dominique is a perfect example right now. Dominique Sanders, everybody, you kind of get here, you learn all the basics, and then Nashville, LA, everybody kind of comes here and then gets their chops by learning all the all the classics, like you just said. And I don't know if you feel that way, but it feels like it even felt that way in the 1800s, right? Everybody'd come to Kansas City, and then they'd go Santa Fe, Oregon. I don't know. That's another whole other deal, but.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do feel like there's a lot of tradition here. I like that personally.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess the tunes getting called here it tends to be more swing heavy.
Oh sure.
Yeah, just because the tradition of Kansas City swing. I prefer that, man. I mean, it's like if. That's my favorite thing to work on and to hear other people do is just swing. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Matt told the story. Matt Hopper is when he got to go down to Brazil or Argentina or something. He went down there. He's like, "Come on, give me some bossa. I want to play some bossa." And they're like, "Ugh," and then they're like, "No, we want to play your swing." And Matt's like, "Ugh," And that was just funny when he was talking about that.
I think the feelings are kind of mutual. It's
right.
Like we love their music and they like the American kind of swing stuff. Yeah.
And he said they started into some samba. And he's just like freaking cloud over here, He's like, I'm floating on. I mean, these guys' rhythm is just out of control. And then when you come up to here, like at for example, Everett's, old jam, and like medium swing, come on, bring it, I mean, you hear Everett's group, playing, any random medium swing, and they absolutely freaking annihilate that stuff.
Yep.
That's like our stuff, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Yeah. The one other thing I was going to ask you too. So you're talking about that moment where you have the student and they're playing, but you can tell they're just barely not into it. and then instead of, you know, drilling hard on them and know you're going to do this, you kind of move on. That's the moments that are driving me nuts about which, you know, which way I'm going to go with them. And like, because there's always the two sides, you know, I know learning this strumming pattern is going to get you to do 800 more songs, but it's going to be pulling teeth.
Yeah, right.
You know, and then, but if I move on, they might like it. And so is one of the things that, like, the farther along the motivation path you get them, then this will come later. Or I don't know if that's in your brain, but I think that's the argument that some people would make, as opposed to the drill. Get them to do stuff they like, and then eventually when they like it, they will eventually want this.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? Is that...
I think I understand your question.
Yeah.
I definitely just, like I said, make sure that they're enjoying it, and I don't want them to hate me. So yeah, I don't drill anything too hard. Yeah, maybe if I had if I was like teaching a private studio, it'd be different, and I might, you know, be a little more like, okay, like either do it or just don't come back.
Oh, sure.
But I just work for music house, and I like having my job. I don't want people to hate me. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of constantly like, okay, I'll back off on this. Let's just make sure we have fun.
Sure.
And you know, it's just that it's a positive experience, because I know it's never like a negative experience, but piano can be pretty boring. I think, or it's like, oh my god, I gotta go to piano. Like, please no. Yeah.
Please God no.
Yeah.
But that's another thing too that you're mentioning, is that kind of dynamic of the shop, you know, and I'm completely on my own, so I take the ramifications of them quitting, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, so
I have a lot of younger students too. That's the other thing, is like, I'm not gonna get mad at an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, okay, my older high school students, yeah, I will kind of, let them know, like, man, that's fine, we'll move on, but like, this isn't going away. Like, you're gonna have to, if you want to get better, you're gonna have to work on this at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you kind of adjust. You have to, right?
Yeah, every student is different. Yep.
Yeah.
Just tailor it to they're all different people with unique
sure.
personalities. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I've been fascinated by things that trump other things, and that would be an example of you were saying, yeah, okay, we can move on, but if you want to be good, then you're going to have to do this. The problem is they come back and not want to get good. So then you're kind of...
That's fine.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is, yeah, if it's... I recognize that not everyone wants to be a musician.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Some people, it's like, oh, I'm just doing this for now. This is one of my activities that I like to do. And that's fine. Just as long as we have that kind of understanding, or I know that, then I won't, you know what I mean? It's like, I'll just make sure to keep it fun. And I always try to work on, or at least try to get them to tell me songs that they like listening to that we can work on. That doesn't always work. Sometimes they're like, whatever, I don't care, just tell me.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't like doing that though, because I'm just a jazz, classical music nerd. Like, you guys don't, our music interests don't really line up.
Yeah, sure.
I think. So, yeah.
Do you get a lot of pop tunes like that? I mean, do when they do tell you? I mean,
yeah. I mean, we work on a lot of Taylor Swift and whatever, man. I don't care. I mean, it's all good.
Sweet, yeah.
Like I said, it's like we're still learning rhythms and notes, and I try to make them pick it off the record, and I don't just like pull up a sheet and give it to them. Yeah.
They're still learning their G chord and their C chord and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, making sure they know major scales. Definitely.
How much? So like, and that's the last teaching question I'll ask you is how much of the technique do you give them? I mean, do you give them a lot of the technique, or it sounds like you kind of
Well, I'm not really a technician myself, piano wise, so I don't really know what to tell people about the technique of it. But in terms of mechanical things, yeah, I mean, like, I definitely most everyone that I think can handle it, I'll be like, we're gonna do scales and be able to play all your major and minor triads, be able to invert them, be able to see that's something that I think is a big step with pianists, is being able to see inversions that are all right next to each other instead of just using the same inversion. You know what I mean?
Oh,
that
sure.
really opens things up when you can just see everything that's around, just like middle C even. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. 3-5-1 instead of 1-3-5. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of my favorite things about piano. Actually,
Yeah.
is just how you can basically just leave your hand in one place and do kind of everything. Yeah. I love that, man. I love that.
That's cool. Yeah, I know that a lot of this happened one time too. Another friend of mine from Wichita and I were talking, and he was really monster classical player, and he was trying to get into the jazz thing because he didn't really understand it, but he liked it and whatever. And he was like, "Man, I just know that if I just figure out all these inversions and stuff, I'm like, here, play me a blues." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay, you're on book 9 right now in your brain, or you want to be on book 9, but you've missed book 1." It's like he was obsessed by because he's playing freaking Scriabin and like Rachmaninoff and crap. I mean, he's killer, but I'm like, he's like, "Man, if I just, I'm like, dude, you can't play a blues yet, like, go." I don't know. That was another thing that was funny about. That's where him and I just clashed, because I was like, dude, you're obsessing about this, like, the inversion stuff, and I'm like, but you can't like do the. Well,
yeah, I mean, that's where I feel like you got to listen to it in the transcribing. That's where I come back to that. It's like, especially starting off, you're not 99 out of 100 people. You're not going to get better unless you transcribe and get with the tradition and the history and all the stuff that's already there. I think some guys, 1 out of 100 guys is like just a natural for whatever reason, or you know what I mean. I encounter those where I'm like, oh man, you just get harmony, you get rhythm, how it works, and how to flow naturally. But for most people, it's like you got to listen to other people doing that. Definitely for me, you know what I mean. It's like,
sure,
got to hear other people doing that before I kind of got to feel for what to do myself.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, last question for you. Tell me a little bit about your feelings on the Kansas City scene in general. You've kind of obviously gotten known pretty well with a lot of the jazz guys, and I see you out playing with all sorts of people, and Lonnie, one of the biggest names in town, thinks you're something, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah, man, Lonnie has been real good to me. Yeah, I've had that gig for in different capacities, 10 years now. I've been playing with Lonnie.
Wow.
Yep. My thoughts on the Kansas City jazz scene, well, there are a ton of people who can play here for the size of the city.
Yeah.
The level is ridiculously high, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
And the venues are cool. I have no complaints about the venues. I feel like we could use maybe one more like showcase style venue, sort of like the Blue Room.
Yeah.
But just another place like that, like Green Lady and Black Dolphin are cool, but that's more of a club. It's loud. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
Like a ticketed sort of place. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're
or
sure.
Like the Bistro in St. Louis or something. Or
did you ever play at the what was the Devil's?
Kill Devil?
Yeah, Kill Devil. Yeah, you mean maybe something even like that? I guess that was more like a club though too. Yeah, that wasn't like a ticket thing. Yeah, that would be a
Yeah, I mean it's good, man. I generally view it pretty positively. I don't always like the way that the music is used by people who are coming out to listen to it. Sometimes I feel like it's just like something to be louder than, which I don't always understand. But I also, it's like I recognize that we need all types of listeners, people who are there to pay attention, people who are there to just be louder than what we're doing. That's fine. But no, man, I don't have any complaints. I think it's a great scene.
That's cool,
I'm happy to be a part of it in my small way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so many guys here who can play, man. Peter Schlam is ridiculous. Matt Villinger, I'm just talking about pianists. I mean, all instruments. But yeah, Peter Schlam, Matt Villinger, Roger Wilder, Brahm, TJ, Eddie, this guy Christian Swan. I'm probably forgetting other people. But yeah, I mean, just even on my own instrument, there's so many sources of inspiration here. I've been influenced a lot by just my peers, definitely, too. Yeah.
I've had Chris on the show too. Chris Hazelton is a real nice guy.
Yeah. I didn't mean to forget about the organist.
Oh yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah.
But yeah, those guys too. Yeah, this guy Aaron Mayfield too. I've kind of gotten to know him recently. Oh my
I haven't met him. Yeah.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, yeah, there's an absolute crap load of players, and one thing I've been trying to promote on the show too is a lot of the Dominiques, Brad Williams, people even like Steve Lambert, all of us younger guys that are kind of trying to. Eddie Moore. I mean, there's million of them in town that are hopefully gonna be Roger, in 10 years, or whatever. And I think that's so neat. And Bobby has, been a huge helper in that of
definitely
putting millions of new.
Yeah, he's drawn a lot of really heavy players here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
That's cool.
Yep.
Well, cool, man. Well, I know that a lot of people are, very impressed by your playing, which is obvious why you're getting, called by everybody, and definitely keep it up, man. You're doing a great job.
Thanks. I, at this point, don't have a choice. I'm definitely going to keep it up. I'm too far in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, no, it's definitely an obsession for me, and I think, things that I struggle with just make me want to keep, working on it more. That kind of relights the fire for me when I find something. It also pisses me off too.
Sure.
I have both sides of it where I'm just mad that I can't do it, and then I'm also okay, this is inspiring.
Yeah.
I have something to really work on.
Sure, that's the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it
Yep.
apparently doesn't just, make you go fetal, and quit,
Right.
when you have something that goes wrong.
Yeah, a small dose of self-hatred is good.
Well, that's a good way to end it. Small dose of self-hatred.
That's the message
Yeah, that's the
trying to send here.
I'll put that in the little description of the video for you. But well, cool, man. Definitely keep it up, Andrew Ouellette.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me. Yep.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah.
But anyways, we'll be back next time. See you later. Get out of here.